Hear me out, I have a theory. What if the voice in your head is future you, the highest evolved version of yourself, retelling your story to the crowd of everyone else in the movie of your life, in which you are the main character, just as everyone is the main character in their own movie? What your future self is saying is being broadcasted to your current self through the channels of your mind. If you are focused inward, aka tuned into that frequency, aka tuned into your own spiritual path, then these messages will be heard and make sense. If you're focused outwardly on material and worldly matters instead of coming from the platform of your soul, if you are focusing more on the material things or caring about how your life looks rather than how it feels, then these messages being broadcasted either won't be heard by you, or you wouldn't have been paying enough attention consistently enough to be able to make sense of what you're being told or what you're being guided to. You can imagine that future you is a stand-up comedian. Future you is basically coming up with the script in real time as the movie rolls on. There is no such thing as time except in the physical dimension. So for your future self, time is not an issue. Time is really just representative of all the scenes in your movie and how long they will take to complete as a whole. This is why you might have heard before someone mention a timeline shift. A timeline shift is when eventually your current consciousness will catch up with the future version of you that's telling your story. This is what is meant by the other side of the veil or the curtain. So future you is speaking the script that's being broadcasted to you in real time, in the form of thoughts and intuition. And you are basically a video game avatar that is acting out your part in the movie, as well as being the director in the sense that you are choosing who stays in your movie and how big of a role that they play through the use of energy as a form of currency. When you pay attention to something, you buy that experience. So when you allow your consciousness to focus on something or someone, you're feeding it your energy and it reciprocates with the experience, aka receiving and acting out the script of the role that they are playing in your movie. All of this runs on energy, which is the true currency of the world. The actors in your movie are paid to stay in your movie based off of how much energy you expend to them to play their certain role or part. This is what it means that we all have soul contracts with one another, because we all agreed before coming to Earth that we were going to play a certain role in each other's movie and agreed upon the payment that would be put forth in the form of an energy exchange. Have you ever felt like you owed something to someone? This is where this deeply rooted feeling comes from. This is also why when a soul contract has been completed, our soul recognizes this and tries to release that person from our movie, like cutting them from the remaining scenes. Because the ultimate goal in coming here is to complete the movie in its entirety that we previously signed up to experience. Since eventually one day the concept of time will no longer be an obstacle, the ultimate goal of this is to basically have a library of souls. in which you will be able to see everyone's full journey, to understand what they've gone through and what has made them into who they are. Ironically enough, you can think of it as the ultimate social media app or the ultimate social experiment that is filling in the pieces of the puzzle that's needed for this social media app experience as a whole. Imagine being able to take a peek into someone's entire life and see what happened that made them the way that they are. Being able to build that bridge of understanding and compassion with them. Then you will see that underneath of all of our pain and all of our hurt, we are all just spiritual beings that are here to endure all of the human experience so that we can evolve into the highest version of ourselves, which requires us to be tested and go through a certain amount of trial and pain, which is ultimately what this realm is for. In order to be able to appreciate and be willing to build that bridge of compassion and understanding, we must be aligned with the highest version of ourselves. Because if we're not aligned with the highest evolved version of ourselves, then there is still the opportunity or the possibility that someone would use someone else's story against them. And that is not at all what the Library of Souls is for, and it won't stand for that. So that's why it must be the highest evolved version of you that gets access to this Library of Souls, which would mean that your movie is complete by that time. So we all go through a blueprint that allows us to experience similar gates of feelings and emotions while going through them. Yet we all get to experience these events in different ways that, when put together, piece together our movie. There's a blueprint that makes sure we all get to experience each of the emotions that we are supposed to in a way that comes out into the motion picture of our life movie. First, we go on a descension process, which involves learning and enduring, so that we can turn things around and go on the ascension process of healing and remembering our purpose. AKA catching back up in the healing process enough from our journey that we find ourselves telling our story from the standpoint of healing and from the ultimate stage of love that is where our future self is standing upon waiting for us. The whole process really comes full circle with the amount that we use our phones today being very much ironic in a way. It really is the recreation of our higher self broadcasting the script to our brain and through our intuition, which we then used to play a role and direct others in their role within our movie. It is the ascension process or the proving that we learned that true currency is energy. And that we have learned that what we put out into the world truly matters and manifests not only in our own movie, but in the movies of others as well. Through providing major themes, lessons, healing, scene changes, and character swaps that are necessary for a movie to come together as a whole. Basically, imagine a movie with only one person in it. It would never be interesting. That's why we need each other, because we are co-stars. This is similar to how our brain takes the role of our higher self and broadcasts the script of our life to our social media, which is then used to create our reality based off of what we are putting out into the world, be it our business, our personal lives, our relationships. It is all very highly affected by what we are manifesting into reality by broadcasting that to others through our communications and social media. So as above, so below. Social media is the below version of the Library of Souls that is being created by each of us, maintaining the main character role in our own movie and playing that movie out to its completion, which, since there is a blueprint, ensures that we each learn everything that we need it to learn and experience everything that we need it to experience before our timeline eventually joins with that of our higher self. And we realize that we are actually the main character all along, each in our own right. You are literally made of matter. What you're made of is called matter, like solid, liquid, gas. That type of matter is what I'm talking. You have always mattered and you will always matter. And basically, this whole social experiment is to show you how much you matter and how each person's movie never would have came out the way it was supposed to had any other pieces decided to not fit the puzzle like we had previously agreed upon in our soul contracts. Basically, there's a greater plan that is very much unfolding, and you will be happy looking back once you realize that the bigger plan includes the greatest version of you. It actually requires the greatest version of you, and it won't happen until you become the greatest version of you. So this is